Very good afternoon to all of you. I, Dr. Sanjib Pattnaik, welcome you to our session on the course that is Management Control System, coded as MMPF 003. We are already looking at the block 4, where we look at how management control system is applied or application of MCS in some special organizations. Now, today we'll try to see how management control of projects are undertaken. In the earlier session in this particular block 4, we looked at management control in various kind of the, we can say, institutions like financial institutions, like developmental organizations, non-profit organizations, etc. So today our focus will be on projects. Now, before entering into how management control is applied to the projects, let us try to understand what is a project. If we look at the industry, it has been categorized in general terms into two types: customized industry and standardized industry. Now, when we are talking of customized industry, we are talking of those kind of industry where the items are produced after getting the customer's order. That means the production is dependent on receiving the customer order. So the name comes customized industry. So there one typical type of industry we see is the job shops, where we can take the example of the tailoring shops, the fabricators, etc. Now, if we look at the other end, that means standardized industry, here the industry does not wait for customers' order to produce the items. It takes some general requirements of the customers and goes on producing the items. And the volume is very high here. These are kept in the shelves in some standard varieties or some standard sizes, and the customers take that standard size items from the shops shelves or from the industry showrooms. There we may find the example of the batch production systems, the assembly line production system like automobile sector, the mass production system like the iron and steel plants, sugar industry, etc. Now, what are the projects? Where are they falling? Usually, projects, when we talk of, are customized industry or belong to customized industry. Any project that is undertaken is only after receiving the customer's order. So, depending upon the customer or the client's order, the projects like building, like highway, like bridges are produced, and after completion, they are handed over to the party which is requiring those items. So, when we look at this projects, we shall go into this particular unit. We shall try to look at how management control of projects are undertaken. Now, let us get an introduction regarding the projects. Now, it is a temporary endeavor. Why do we say temporary endeavor? Now, look at one example. Suppose automobile industry. The industry goes on running as long as it life is there, or it may be modernized, it might be expanded, and the life may be continued for a very period. Similarly, if we look at the other side, projects are those endeavors which has a definite starting point and definite ending point. That means the time between the starting point and the ending point is the life of the project. Once the project reaches its ending point, it is handed over to the customer or the client. It is the contractor or the project organization which creates the project. So, we say projects are temporary because it has a lifespan which is usually short. Now, each project are unique in nature. What it means? Each project differs from other projects. Not only that, the projects may differ from projects of similar kind. So we say they are unique in nature. For example, we may say the construction of bridges across two rivers may be the same. But no, the two projects are not the same. The requirement of the project across river A may be different from the construction of the bridge across the river B. Their length may be different, the soil condition may be different, the water current may be different, etc. So we say each project are unique. That means each is different from others. As we have already said, project have a definite starting and ending point. That means a project starts on a particular date, the implementation goes on in the project, and once the project is ready and trial runs have been undertaken to see whether the project is working, then it is handed over to the customer. So we say projects have definite starting and ending point. Each project tries to achieve the objectives for which it has been created. We may say that a bridge to be constructed across the river has the objective to provide communication roadways between the 2 points across the river. It may be roadways along with railways also. In some parts of India, we have seen the example that the project have been created for communication purposes, not only the highways but also the railways. So the objectives which has been set up at the beginning, the project tries to achieve the objectives. Now, in order to create the project, we require resources. In other words, project consumes resources. Resources in the form of the capital, the material, the efforts of the human being, etc. Projects are exposed to uncertainties. That means the risk involved in creation of project is very high. Since projects are undertaken in the future period of time and what is going to happen, we do not have an idea. So we say projects many a times faces different kind of uncertainties. So some examples of projects are, as we have discussed already, bridges, flyovers, buildings, etc. Now, just like human beings, as we have a life cycle, that means definite starting point, that is birth, definite ending point, that is the death. In between, we have different stages. Similarly, project also has a life cycle having different phases. The phases are the design or the planning, the execution, and the development. Now, when we think of a project, that means the beginning phase of the life cycle, that is designing and planning, we think of generating the idea for a project, that is conception of the project that we are undertaking. Now, where from this idea will be generated? Now, if we analyze the need or a problem that is existing and try to find out a solution which can be overcome through a project, then we say we have generated the idea of a project. Once the idea is generated, we try to analyze it from various angles. That means it may be, is it going to serve the purpose for which it is being created? That means achieve the objective. Uh, how much resources it will be consuming in form of the capital as well as time, and we try to develop a proposal out of that. Now this proposal has to be justified in front of the top management, so that if an agreement is reached between the top management and the project managers, then we go forward in the project. Now when we say go forward, we move into the second stage of the life cycle of the project, that is the execution part. Execution is the project implementation. First is the preparation. We have to get ourselves ready. In other words, we have to prepare ourselves for what? Now, for the various kind of resources required. That means where from the capital will come, how much time it will be taking, what are the machineries that will be used, where from we are going to get the machineries, what are the different set or human resources required to create the project, where are they available, is the benefit exceeding the cost we are spending it, and how much time for which the benefit will be associated with the project. So all these things we try to answer. After that, after making necessary preparations, we go on for the actual implementation. We go on for the actual implementation or execution of the project. Now, the actual work takes place according to the plan of the design, and the project is undertaken with a view that it should be completed within the budgeted amount and in the scheduled time. Once it is completed, trial runs are undertaken. That means we try to test whether the project is working as per the requirement. Is it fulfilling the objectives? After that, it is handed over to the customer or the client. The last phase of the project life cycle is the development stage. Now, what happens here? Once the project is completed, the project team or the project organization do not stop there. they try to take revisions. They make revisions which will help them that whether the project is achieving its objective in the future period of time. Also, they gather feedbacks. Now, these feedbacks can be documented and can be utilized in projects of similar kind when it is undertaken in a future period of time. So these are the distinct life cycle phases of a project. Now we have organizations. Most of the projects of the organizations are undertaken by the project department. Now the project department of the organization tries to gather various kind of resources from other departments and goes forward in the project for the organization. But the already existing organization, we say that it is a ongoing operation. That means the actual production is going on. Now, what is the difference between these two projects and the ongoing operations? Now, projects have a single objective. What do we mean by that? Now, to achieve the objective within the budget and time. Whereas ongoing operation, they may be having multiple objectives: higher profits, higher productivity, better human resource planning, etc. When we are talking of organization structure, the ongoing operation may be having organization structure like functional organization, or it can also be divisional organization. So in functional organization, the organization is divided into or categorized into separate departments where each department is responsible for a particular function, like the production, like the finance, like the marketing, like R&D, etc. But when the organization grows big, then we say that the functional structure does not hold good. So enterprises move to divisional form of organizational structure, where each division is created for maybe each product line, etc. So they will be looking like small enterprises working together in order to achieve the organization's overall requirements. But when we talk of project, we talk of a matrix organization. What is it? A combination of both functional as well as the product layout or the divisional layout, the organizational structure. Now, the focus of the project is getting the thing done in the scheduled time, whereas the focus of ongoing operation is varied, as we saw in the objective, like profit generation, cost reduction, higher productivity, etc. In projects, there is a need for trade-off. What is the need for trade-off? Now we have to balance between the planned things and the actual happenings. Because we say project consists of many kind of uncertainties. Now in projects, the standards are less reliable because we do not know what is the standard that has to be adhered to in projects as it is unique in nature. But in case of ongoing operations, the standards can be reliable and can be maintained. The projects, we make frequent change in plans according to the requirement of maybe the customers, maybe according to the changing environment, maybe according to the changing circumstances. Now, when we are talking of projects mostly have different rhythm. In other words, different pace of working upon. What it means? Now, when the capital is available, time is there, or resources is available, the project may be going on at a faster pace. But when there is a crunch of resources, the project may slow down in its implementation. Apart from that, projects have environmental influence. That means it is influenced by various kind of factors like the community, like the adherence to regulations, the political requirements, etc. So projects face a higher amount of environmental influence. Now, what is the control environment in a project? What are the things or techniques we use to control the project environment? First is, the project uses a matrix organization. We said the basic form of organization is either functional or the product or the divisional organization. When we take the characteristic of both of them, then we are talking of a matrix organization. So, the project organization mostly is a matrix organization. Now, there will be frequent changes in the project team. Why frequent changes? Because most of the project team members, they are, we can say, we take them or we try to get them from various kind of functional areas in the organization. So the team members may be having higher obligations towards their functional areas instead of the project. So every now and then they will be going or moving back to their functional areas. So when this happens, we'll be changing our project team and bringing in a new member to the team of the same functional area. The contractual relationship. We know project is a contract or agreement between two parties mostly. Now, the project can either be undertaken by the project division of its own or by a outside party. Usually the contractual relationship arises when the project for an organization is undertaken by a outside party. Now, these two parties are the organization for whom the project is done is called as contractee, or the customer or the client. Now, the third party or the outside party which does the project on behalf of the requirements of the customer or the organization is called as the contractor. Now, in order to have the project, the contractor takes the money. Now, this can be in various forms. Two important forms are, one is fixed price contract. Now, this is usually followed in government sectors. What happens? Now, for a project, the government issues tenders in the open market. Now, these tenders are bidded by various contractors according to the specifications of the project. Whichever contractor gives the lowest price and meets also the specification standards, the contractor may be awarded the project. Now, the price quoted by the contractor is the fixed price the contractor will be taking. This may come in various phases, and the amount will be paid or completed, the total amount will be completely paid after the completion of the project. Another widely used form of contractual relationship is cost reimbursement. What happens here? The contractor quotes a cost for the project according to the specifications offered by the customer. Now, here, in addition to the cost, a percentage is added up as the reimbursement against the profits. So, the cost plus profit is given to the contractor after its completion. Another control environment thing is the information structure. How shall one know what are the various kind of activities that are included in the project? Or how do we know what are the activities that combine to form the project? For example, let us take the construction of a bridge, and it includes three major works. One is the preparation of the ground, second is civil work, third is the laying of the road. So each activity may start from different times because you cannot lay the road unless until the ground preparation and the civil works have been completed. Now, when we are talking of bridge, we see that we can break it down to small components or activities called as work packages. Now, when we try to break down a project into a different kind into all its different work packages, then we call it as the work breakdown structure or WBS. Another control environment aspect that we have to keep focus is cost. We can have direct cost, we can also have indirect cost. Direct cost, which are spent on the project and it can be directly identified with the project. But there are some other costs which are required for the project, but we cannot directly associate that with the project because only a portion of that may have been used by the project. Those are called as indirect cost. For example, the administration cost. The administration department of the organization may be looking at not only the project but also the various other things of the organization. That means a portion of the activities of administration department is spent for the project. So that is the amount which is considered as indirect cost of the project. So the task is how to identify these indirect costs and take that into the framework of finding out the cost of the project. Now, let us look at the various project planning and control techniques that are available to us. The first one is the Gantt chart. We are taking the first one is the Gantt chart. Here I have taken the example of building. Now, for this building, if I construct a work breakdown structure, suppose three major activities are site preparation, civil works. We can similarly have, apart from civil work, suppose the finishing. What I will try to do, I will try to show that in a graph format where these are my months. This is January, this is February, this is March, this is April, this is May, this is June, July, August. Suppose I say that we have to prepare the site first, and I start from the month of January, and it takes me 2 months. So if I start from January, all of us see, 2 months I am taking, and the activity site preparation, suppose I name it as A, this as B, this as C. So activity A is taking me 2 weeks, and after that only I can start the civil works, which will take me 3 months, suppose. That means up to June. This is the civil works. Now the finishing, we can start as civil works are being completed or are going on being completed. Suppose I will say that I can start my finishing work from April, and it will only be completed in month of August. That means 1, 2, 3, 4 months it is taking. Now we can see the overlapping of activities. Activities are shown by, this may not be properly shown, but by bar diagrams. So the bar diagrams representing activities are shown on a chart that is called as Gantt chart. And this is a typical example of a building I have shown. It is one of the most widely used technique of the project planning as well as control, so that we can see what is the plan that we have used and where we are as we go on actually implementing the work. The second is the program budgeting. Now in program budgeting, we used or we tried to use certain kind of ratios which will show us the various kind of information. Suppose I want to see the effectiveness at any given point of time. So actual physical work done divided by physical work planned. This will give me a ratio either greater than 1 or less than 1. So if it is greater than 1, we are effective in the project. Similarly, we can talk about the resources. Here we try to compare the actual work done with the work planned. So when we take out the ratio again, it can be less than 1, equal to 1 or greater than 1. Always greater than 1, we say that we are doing better utilization of resources. Then the third is measure of efficiency. How do we know that we are efficient? Now we try to find out two ratios, the actual thing or the actual ratio, compare that with the budgeted one. So actual work done divided by actual cost. If it is greater than budgeted work divided by budgeted cost, we say that we are efficient. Another ratio we can find out regarding the project status, that means whether the project is ahead or it is lagging behind, is project status index, PSI. As we can see from the calculation, it is the actual work done divided by work planned into budgeted expenses by actual expenses. If it is greater than 1, then the project is ahead of the requirement. Another important ratio in planning and control we see is quality index. In general terms, when we say quality, we talk about the value of our money. So when we are talking of quality index, we calculate it as the cost of rework and compensation divided by value of the project. Now, the lower is this ratio or lower is this value, then we say the better is the quality index, because this index will only be lower if the rework cost or the compensation that we are paying for any kind of defective works, if they are lower, then we know that the project has been undertaken according to the quality specifications. If the index rises or gets higher and higher near to 1 or moves towards 1, then we say that the quality index of the project is falling. Now we shall move into one of the most important technique of project planning and control, that we call as the networking technique. Mostly or widely we take the network technique of POT. We have two type of techniques. One is critical path method or CPM. Second is POT or program evaluation and revenue and review technique. Here, the critical path method is a deterministic model and it is better suitable where all the activities, duration and the cost can be predicted easily. But we know that the project is always full of uncertainties. The activities cannot be based on the future, on the past records of similar kind of activities. So here it is a futuristic model or we say probabilistic model. So we have taken an example regarding the POT. We shall try to see what is the duration of the project. how the lateness in the project activities are affecting it, and how to reduce the project duration. Look at the thing, how many activities we have: A, B, B, C, A, D, like this. 7 activities we have. When we say preceding activity, that means the activity before the particular activity. Suppose I say activity A, B, that means before A, B, a hyphen is given, means no other activity is present before the activity A, B. Look at activity B, C. Before that, the requirement is activity A, B should be present. So this relationship has to be maintained. Now suppose the time for the various activities are given as months, 12 months for first one, that is AB, 5, 6, 8, 6, 4, 4. So here let us try to find out what is the project length. So before doing that, we have to have the network diagram of the project. That I shall be doing it now. Activity AB and activity AD. And finally, the activity A. So we have an activity AB. We are joining it by straight lines. We have an activity BC, activity AD, activity DE, activity BE is there. Then we have CF as well as EF. Now check all the activities are there before AB. No other activity is present, correct? Before BC, activity A. Before BC, activity AB is present. Before EF, BE as well as DE are present. And now I write the times. AB is of 12 months, BC is of 5, AD is of 6, DE is of 8, BE is 6, CF consists of 4, EF consists of 4 months. Now, what is the duration of this project? Now, before finding out the duration, let me check what are the possible paths. Now, when I say paths, I will move from the first point, that means the starting point, that is A here. till the ending point F here without lifting my pen. One path can be A, B, C and F. A, B, C, F. How much time this part takes? Now AB is 12, BC is 5 plus CF is 4. That is equal to 21 months. Now let us check whether other possible paths are there. Another is A, B, E, F. So when I check the times, it is 12 plus 6 plus 4, that is equal to 22 months. Any other path is there? Yes. A, D, E, F. What are the times? 6 plus 8 plus 4, that is equal to 18 months. Now out of these three paths, here we find a particular path is having the maximum time period, duration. Now, in completion of this particular path, we can say that the other paths will definitely have been completed, because within 22 months, this is taking 21 months and this is taking 18 months. These two would have been already completed. Now, in order that a project is complete, we say that all the activities should be complete. So the path with the longest duration, when it is completed, all other paths are also completed. In other words, all other activities are also completed. So that path we call as this 22, the path is called as critical path, because this path determines the length of the project. A, B, B, E, E, F. Now you see, I am showing it in double line arrows. The critical path is the path with the longest duration, and we cannot make any kind of delays in the path. So this is the way I try to find out the duration of the project, that is 22 months. The critical path length is the duration of the project. Now when we are talking of slacks, we are talking of whether any lateness can be there. Now, if we have any path as critical, here we have the critical path, there we cannot make any kind of lateness in the activities. But in other paths, there can be some kind of lateness. Now, in path A, B, C, F, I can have some kind of lateness there. Check for activity A, B. I cannot make any kind of lateness. All of you see, AB is a critical activity, so no lateness can be made. Think about BE as well as EF. we cannot make any kind of late in that PE and EF, PE and EF. Since these are critical activities, we cannot make any kind of lateness. Now look at activity BC and CF. In this, we can make 1 day late. In ABCF, we can make